Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the Final Furlong Podcast, the informed team never so brave, baby! By half the track, we land the play spot. It paid £41 to £1 stakes, so that's not exactly any good, but 3 winners on day 3 of the podcast. There were some positive mentions for the winners as well. Let's not mention Illinois. Oh, that was painful. Cheltenham was great, though. Cheltenham was great. Hats off to John and Thady Gosling, who've taken the 3 feature races as we're recording at Royal Ascot. 5 wins in total, and, well, Aidan O'Brien just crushes everything when it comes to the juveniles. But I told you Trinity College would win. I told you, never mind your weight stats, Andy Newton. Pointless, never so brave is an absolute good thing. How did that horse get beaten at Chester? Do not know. And Adam Mills told you, don't complicate your mind. This Charles Darwin is away and gone. So hopefully, more winners to come. Adam Mills, Andy Newton alongside me. We're going to begin with the Chesham Stakes, which is going to kick things off on Saturday. And it's history repeating. September, second string on jockey bookings, wins first time out, comes to the Chesham. Bedtime story, second string on jockey bookings, win first time out, both in the same race. Moments of Joy took the exact same race as them. Is she going to be another juvenile winner for Team Ballydoyle, or are Godolphin going to get on the score sheet with Tremor? Adam Mills.
This is a typical question, really. Would I back either of them at the current prices? No, that'd be the first answer. I mean, Tremor, you can't really knock Tremor. He won a Newmarket maiden by 4 lengths. Good top speed of over 40 mile an hour. Stride length isn't as long as you might think. The 3rd and 5th placed horses had longer strides, but that might just be the track not suiting. It looks to me, the way William Buick rode him, like they thought there's loads more in the tank and we'll just get this one. I think he's probably too strong for Moments of Joy, but I don't want to back either of them at that price. I may not have a bet in this race, but the one that's probably a bit big at the moment is Venetian Lace. She's a Massard filly, 12-1 for the debut at Chelmsford, but quite a good top speed, won by under 2 lengths. The runner-up's gone in since, and she was really quick over the last quarter of a mile. I mean, look, she had the ideal draw. Stall 1 is sort of a golden ticket, especially if you're prominent around Chelmsford. And I don't know at this stage how many winners of Royal Ascot races I can remember making their debut at Chelmsford and coming here, but probably a little bit big. It is a race to be very careful of, but I think if you want the short ones, Tremor will beat Moments of Joy, in my opinion.
Okay, she didn't come from he didn't make his debut at Chelmsford, I should say, but the Cy Bensarour horse, he came from Chelmsford from the all-weather, but he began on the dirt. We gave him a positive mention as well, but I didn't probably back him. I did back the Jamie Spencer horse, though. Oh,
God, that should have won, really, shouldn't it?
Should have? By half the track. Oh, my God. It's one of those moments that I actually don't blame Jamie Spencer at all. The door just got slammed shut on him each and every time, but that's a group horse. That's a group horse. It's just been pointed out to me by my fine producer that maybe was also a juvenile filly winning this race for Team Coolmore. So, Andy Newton, we can complicate things all we want, but it is going to be the boys in blue. It's just a matter of, is it going to be navy blue or light blue?
I'm with the navy blue, and I'll tell you why. We've got some breaking news here, right? Trainmore beat last time, Vlad, is actually just run at Lingfield. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, 2-9, second.
Oh, forget it. Forget it, Adam Mills. He's got no chance. This Tremor's got no chance. Lay him on, please, Lee!
In a novice stakes race on the all-weather at Lingfield in about, 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, dear.
So, obviously, form has absolutely been knocked there. Yes, it beat it by 4 lengths at Newmarket. That was over 6 furlongs, stepping up to 7. There's no reason why it shouldn't get the trip, being by Frankel and all that. But throw that, that form not getting franked into the melting pot with Charlie Appleby horses at the moment. Just then, look, yesterday, I think Moments of Joy was like 7-2.
Yeah.
And the Godolphin horse was more like evens, E5 to 4E. Now, Moments of Joy will go off favourite, I think, here. I'm going to call it now. There's literally the same price at the moment from what I'm looking at. yeah, look, fillies have got quite a good record in this. They've went, and as you said, September was another one for
maybe September bedtime story.
Yeah, and also the Gavin Cromwell horse who won it in 2023, I think was a filly as well. So the last two, Ellen, yeah. So I don't know. I just think that because it's proven over 7.5 furlongs as well, and also you can. I know we've just talked about the form getting knocked with that Vlad who came second to the Godolphin horse, but when you look at the 4th and the 5th, they've both run since as well, and not particularly set the world light. Both been beaten fairly convincingly. So look, visually it looked like a superstar, didn't it, at Newmarket? But I don't know. There's plenty to go on there if you want to take it on. And I'd much rather side with the O'Brien horse, who are absolutely buzzing, as you say, with the 2-year-olds at the moment. That's it. If you want a massive price, that Brave Hunter, maybe, because there's just no depth at all, only because that Ismail Mohammed does actually have a fairly good strike rate of his 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
Ascot, it's something like 2 from 3. I know it's not a massive sort of chunk of proportion to go on, but it needs to improve from its run at Yarmouth, but might sneak a place if you're lucky. But moments of joy.
On a positive note, the Charlie Appleby horse did run well today behind the vastly superior Charles Darwin, but he was drawn on the far side. He was drawn on the wrong side, and he stayed on very well, Adam.
Yeah, and I don't think anything would have beaten Charles Darwin today. That was a good run. I don't think Charlie Appleby's particularly out of form. I just don't think they really get peaked for Ascot at the moment, which would be a slight concern. But with a 2-year-old like this, he's had one run. Who knows? I mean, we all sort of take the piss a little bit maybe, but if things go well for Godolphin, they could end up being the top owner at this year's meeting. So it's not like they're in disastrous form and everything's going wrong.
No, but the thing is, Godolphin are doing well. It's Godolphin without their primary trainer.
Possibly, but I don't really read too much into it, because it's not like they're he's not having 8 to 13 shots. It's more that Charlie Appleby just doesn't seem to have that much of the right ammunition to throw at this meeting. And if you go back a month at the Guineas meeting, everything they ran went perfectly. So but we'll see how it is. This race on the Saturday it just doesn't appeal to me in terms of a betting race, because the front two take so much out of the market. Dare I say those in behind look like 3-year-old stayers, and that, I know that's what this race is for, but there's a lot of them that you think, are they really going to find the speed, and how's it going to work out? It just would be a particular race to play for me. But I do think whatever happens, Treenmore is going to make up into a group horse at some point. Whether that's here or whether that's further down the line, I'm not sure.
Yeah, fair play to ITV for actually putting the question to Charlie Appleby. Hey, what's going on? What's the story? I don't fancy that horse at all. I'm pretty certain that Moments of Joy... he has to give her weight. Good luck with that project. I'd say she'll finish in front of him. I'm not so sure that they'll both finish in front of Humidity, though. Because Laura Joy really highlighted this horse, and this is a race that we covered it for both TalkSport 2, and I did it that morning for QuinnBet on Sky Sports Racing as well. So I had known that there was massive money for Title Roll, and that they were seeing it from, I hate the cliche, but like all the right faces. But it was coming from people they were concerned about. Whereas Humidity had been supported in the morning, then drifted before the off. He ends up winning very nicely. Watman have stepped in and bought him from Cheveley Park, who don't like selling their horses. As Laura pointed out, the Team Valor side came in and bought the horse who'd finished 4th, Sirius A. That horse has gone on to win since. Only won in the last couple of days. Was sent off an odds-on favourite to go and do so. And that Title Roll, I believe, from what we were hearing, is held in pretty decent regard. So Humidity is going to be an interesting one for the Andrew Balding and Oisin Murphy combination. No, sorry, not Oisin Murphy, obviously, because James Doyle is going to be on board. But he's now drifted to a pretty decent price, the son of Ulysses, because there's just this blind assumption that, it's going to be Coolmore and Ballydoyle who fight it out. Coolmore and Godolphin who fight it out, but I'm not so sure. I'll side with Moments of Joy. Massive respect for Humidity. We're covering the race live on TalkSport 2. The Hardwicke Stakes will be a win for Godolphin. How far does the old boy Rebels Romance win this by? He's just going to crush the opposition. Crush your enemies, Rebels Romance. Good to firm ground. Ascot. Happy days. Adam Mills. Easy game.
It should be an easy game, shouldn't it, really? I mean, this race is not deep by any means. I mean, at the moment, the screen I'm looking at, Al Riffer is second favourite. I know Ammo Racing must be looking at Ghostwriter thinking this is where we get our money back.
Oh my God.
Don't know about that, but we'll see. Fair play to him for having a go, and he's certainly got a nice draw for it. I just can't bring myself
to the cheap price of £2 million of the King's finest sovereigns.
Look, Rebels Romance is the best horse in this race by a mile. He's achieved the most. He's been all over the world and won. I just don't know. He got beat by, I just don't know. Do I want to take a favourite price about him with the Appleby doubt and just the way he's drawn out in the 11? And I'm a little bit nervous. It's one of those ones he's probably going to bolt up and I'll think, you idiot, that was a gift. And really, if you knew he was going to run to form, he'd be what? 5-4 in this field? Probably. Bit down there. So I'm going to let him go. I'm going to back Space Legends each way. And if I bump into Rebels Romance, fair enough. Might have a little forecast on them. I thought the comeback run from Space Legend at Chester was interesting. Work to do, but, he was just over 3 lengths behind Cairo, who ran an absolutely massive race in the Queen Anne. They put in the cheek piece on for the first time. And last year, Space Legend faced an absolutely impossible task at Royal Ascot because he tried to get the better of Calandagan. But although he was beaten by Calandagan, he was 6 lengths behind him. He was 2 lengths clear of the rest. He actually ran the faster final furlong. I just think he had a really good top speed figure, 43.53 miles an hour. Ascot's going to suit. They put the cheek. Waffnan racing. William Haggis is having a good week. I think I'd just rather take an each way bet on Space Legend because I thought, actually, if I was pricing this race without Rebels Romance, I'd be pretty close to making Space Legend favourite. Al Riffer's inconsistent. I mean, I can't trust Al RC, so God knows which version of him will turn up. Sunway doesn't look good enough, especially on this ground. Palladium, who knows? But there's a lots of question marks over all these horses. And I think Space Legends will run his race. I think he'll finish in the 3. And if Rebels Romance underperforms, he's the one most likely to pick up the pieces.
I can't believe he's in here without a penalty. He won the Breeders' Cup Turf.
Yeah, he was giving £5 away last time, wasn't it, to Epic Poet? And I know it was a bit of a scrap at the end, but it's levels now. So
he's an absolute stone cold solid moral. Palladium's overpriced, I would have thought. I think it's massively overpriced. He can't beat Rebels Romance. He's got 6 lengths to find with him from their run in Germany last year. But he was probably over the top at that point, maybe. I thought he shaped very, very nicely when he was very weak in the betting on his debut for John and Thady Gosden, who are winning everything. That's a horse who's probably going to end up being price-wise. He won't be 16s. And Ryan Moore's on board, yeah.
Ryan's been booked.
Yeah, and he's got a nice draw. That's the one thing that would concern me a little bit about Rebels Romance. Stall 11. But he should just batter this lot. Go on, the Rebel! One of my favourite horses in training. He cannot get beaten here. He's an absolute stone cold certainty, Andy.
I don't know if he's a stonewall certainty, but the evidence is all there for everyone to see. I mean, rated 1, 2, 3. That's £5 clear of Ghostwriter, and it's one like 10.5 million quid or something. And as I said last time, it was giving £5 to Epic Poet, and that was over a bit further, wasn't it? Mile 6, but we know it stays. If you all want to pick holes in it, I mean, it's run at Ascot once. It came 3rd in the King George last year. It wasn't. But there's that, the old age thing again. I know that completely egg on my face with the Gold Cup. But
for both of us, mate. For both of us. Yeah,
but the stats are still there, and generally this race goes to a 4-year-old. 12 of the last 14 have gone to a 4-year-old. So that's like perfect for Adam's Space Legend. And I went back to, I think it was something like 20 something, and I couldn't find a winner that was older than 6 in this race.
How many of them had won a Breeders' Cup Turf at the age of 6?
I know, but that's what you're saying. It's just, and then like Adam said, it's just like a pants race behind. Al Riffer, Ghostwriter. I mean, look, all right, Ghostwriter's been running in Grade 1, Group 1s. I think his last 7, I think, have been Grade 1s, Group 1. So it's coming down in class, but running over this trip, I think, for the first time. So there's a few question marks on stamina and that kind of thing. So El Lassie, another 8-year-old, all right, probably was it the only course and distance winner in the field? I know it's one at the bottom, Candleford, but it's just, and in some way, God, when was the last time that thing won? And so then you're sort of looking, you're either with and just pile in, and like you say, it could be the good certainty thing, or you can just leave the race alone or have a little bit of an each way play. Palladium's not the worst shout. Moore and Gosden absolutely flying. Definitely come on for that last run at Goodwood, where and if you watch it, it was beaten then ran on again, didn't it? It was only length by Hamish. All right, that was on soft ground. The ground's a bit of an unknown. Like, all its runs have been with some kind of soft in the going description. Palladium, I think. So that's the slight concern, but I don't think they'd run it if they didn't. And then maybe Table Talk at a bit of a squeak. I mean, look, he finished ahead of Sunway last time out. 4-year-old again, ticks that stat, and just might have a bit more to come. I think it's, if you're looking at some kind of each way thing, with just so many question marks against a lot of them, really, apart from Rebels Romance is the most solid. I get that. Whether you just want a bit of value in there, that's all. It's a tricky race, really, because it's not the greatest renewal, is it?
He's a certainty.
I'm not saying it's not. I just think that it's I don't know.
I will say there was a comment on one of our videos this morning on YouTube. What's the one thing Ammo Racing can't buy? A winner. However, I'm sorry, I can't remember who said it, but I had just. The way sometimes people say, I nearly spat out my coffee, and there was like, no, I had literally just taken a gulp of coffee. I had to do everything I could to stop myself from going. He is trained by Clive Cox, whose runners at Ascot so far this week have been beaten 3 1/4 lengths, 4.5 lengths Jasur, who was 18s. Kurdos ran a blinder, only beaten 2 lengths at 66s. Fear Not, who's only beaten half a length, and Shameful, who was 66-1 and beaten only 5 1/4 lengths. It's been a tough season for him, but they are running real well.
Do you reckon they'll keep it with him after this season? I mean, when they bought in the week, he sort of said, "I'm not totally sure I was going to stay there," but I mean, obviously, it is for this run, but we'll see. But I saw they announced David Egan's signed a new deal as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
This is a great opportunity for Ghost Rider. Rebels Romance will crush him. All right, final selections. Adam?
I'm going to go, no, I'm sticking with my guns here. Each way and Space Legend.
Okay. Andy?
I'll just have a little tentative on Palladium and Table Talk.
Okay.
But I do respect Rebels Romance, mate.
Rebels Romance wins. Palladium is the each way play. I have to back him at 16-1. That's crazy. There's no way he'll be that price on the day, I don't think. Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. The feature race of the day does not go off with the normal 420 because of the Japanese interest. So it's going to go off at 340. Lazat is a long-term project for Adam Mills, and he's the 11-4 favourite. You're close, Adam. You're close. You're almost there. Ina Sheeran, 4-1 for Kevin Ryan. William Buick will take over because Ryan Moore will be on board Stormboy, and he is being backed. Awful debut, but he's 9-2. Satono Rev, who you've been told on this show is apparently burning up the gallops, and he's got form with the best sprinter in the world, arguably, Kaiying Rising, 9-2. And then Top Gear, 15-2. Flora of Bermuda keeps running well at the top level. Surely one of these races will fall her way someday. Watnan have stepped in to buy her. She's 11-1. Adam Mills, who wins the QE2?
I know I keep sitting on the fence, but I just can't. So Lazat was a long-term project, but unfortunately, when the likes of Hugh Taylor and Simon Rowlands and a few others decide to open their mouth 6 weeks in advance, the price goes. I mean, I would not back Lazat at 11-4. The problem is Lazat is going to lead, I would imagine. And whilst he'll get a lot of these out of his comfort zone, there is always the risk, unfortunately, that he'll just set this up. And it's very, very difficult. Lazat is the best horse in this race. I think he's achieved the most at this stage. But that's me saying that without being entirely sure what Satono Rev has done or will do. I think I have huge respect for João Moreira. He's one of the best jockeys of all time. But have they not missed the trick by getting a local? Because I just wonder if you need someone with a bit of track craft who understands where to go at Ascot, particularly as Satono Rev, by my count, is drawn 16 of 16 on the wing. Now, the advantage that they've got is that all of the better horses seem to be drawn high. The way I drew the pace map was Lazat was going to lead. You'd find Satono Rev and Stormboy tracking within a sheer-in. The difficult one is Flora Bermuda. I think she's going to struggle because I think being drawn in 4 is going to make things a bit awkward. I'm not going to have a bet in this race. I just can't. I can't. My worry would be that Lazat will hit the front and he'll be still in front of the furlong pole. And as he starts to empty, something will come by him. The one who's the wrong price is Top Gear. Top Gear is a very strong travelling 7 furlong horse. He's a 6-year-old. He's been around the block a lot, but he hasn't done an awful lot of racing at 6 furlongs. Won his first 3 starts in his career over 6 furlongs and hasn't dropped down since. But his form either side of the winter break is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Won at Newmarket by 5 lengths. He beat Royal Scotsman at Newmarket in October. Came back out of Longchamp, gave Sajir a beating, and Sajir, the time before that, had run really well at Newmarket. So, you have to look at his form. He had Lake Forest in behind him. Jazz the Secret runs. There's lots of good form there. He might be one to sort of pick up the pieces. Whether he's good enough to drop down and suddenly be a Group 1 performer at the age of 6, I'm not sure. But no, I'm sorry. I'm sitting on the fence. I can't do it. As much as I love Lazat, his pictures is currently in the mail. I was hoping to have it here, but it's a bit delayed. Sort it out. But no.
Behind you, is it, that one?
No, Lazat's not here yet. He's the latest one I've ordered. So
yeah, but is it when it'll
go in that little gap? I mean, like Calandigan's place is in danger. Calandigan's like one of only 2 horses on this wall not to win a Grade 1. So he's in real danger of ending up in the shed. But no, I can't. I've already won a Group 1, so the Group 1 winners get to stay inside. Those that let me down end up in the shed.
That's reasonable. That's fair enough. I thought Top Gear was very, very interesting as well. These Wooden Bassets keep winning for one thing, but secondly, that form with Lake Forest. He was only beaten 2 1/4 lengths in the Queen Anne.
So if you back Top Gear, you'll get a run for your money because the way he travels, he gets to the 2 furlong pole and you think, here we go. But the only sort of not downside to him, but they've been campaigning him to run in France over 7 furlongs and a mile. This ground will suit him. I know his form book will say, he's not encountered this before, but he did when he was a younger horse. And actually, with the times he's been beaten has been on softer ground. It's just whether he can take the next step. So he's running races like the Prix Foray before where he's been beaten out of sight. So he's got to prove that he's suddenly a Group 1 horse. But this is the first time he's raced over 6 furlongs since 2021 as a 2-year-old.
Was Naval Crown dropping from 7 furlongs when he won this for close personal friend Charlie Appleby?
Not anymore.
Yeah, that Christmas card is gone, Sam. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look out. Let me have a look.
What did you ask? Whether it dropped?
Yeah, he'd been running over 7 furlongs. They dropped him to 6 in Maidan the time before he wins. And he beat Creative Force, who was a 7 furlong horse as well. So you can do it. And we have recent evidence that you can do it. It's just that there is going to be like proper speedballs in here. Look, Lazat's dropping back in trip as well, technically speaking. He was a winner over 6 furlongs last year. I think he's the value in the race. I'm going to back Storm Boy. Why? Because of recent history. Because I've seen this film before. I know how it ends.
Yeah, but this film normally has Charles Burns involved in it.
No. Charles Burns had nothing to do with Merchant Navy, who ran in the same race Storm Boy ran in and then won this race as a 3-year-old. He had nothing to do with Star Spangled Banner or Spar Mangled Manor, as a friend of mine texted me that night as he was smashed to bits as we were all celebrating a drink with copious amounts of alcohol. Ex-Australian sprinters come to Coolmore, 1 run. Star Spangled Banner got beaten on his debut, wins this race. Next start. Add in So You Think. It took him a year, but he still won. And Haradison won after bombing out in the Lockinge and then won the Queen Anne. Storm Boy.
What about the price? The price has gone a little bit on it? Or is that a good sign? Because it was probably double that, wasn't it?
I take it as a positive, but I would much prefer the 16-1 that was available last month, or at least after his debut. But I'm just going to keep the faith, Andy. I'm going to keep the faith with Storm Boy from stall 15, Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien. Long-term plan. Hope they get it done. Who are you with, Andy?
Yeah, it will certainly improve for that run, and especially Aidan, the vibes afterwards. He sort of said exactly the same, and that's probably why it has been backed as well. Ryan actually rode the Japanese horse, didn't he, in a bit of work at Newmarket on the July course because it's been over here for a couple of weeks now. So he'll obviously know a fair bit about that one as well, which is sort of an interesting angle. Hasn't been a Japanese winner at Royal Ascot, so that would be great. I think they've had. I did do an article on it actually on Sports Casting. If you any Japanese racing nuts out there who are interested, I think they've had 10 runners at Royal Ascot. I think their best finish was at Shara in the Prince of Wales in 2022. So, good luck to them. Drawn 16. That could go well. Lazat, I don't know. I don't even think there's been a French winner, is there, of this race? I'm not sure. Couldn't find one when I was going back. So that could be the first French train winner if it goes in. So, look, on the Group 1 thing we did, I quite like Kind of Blue, but it's been pulled out. So that's a bit annoying because I thought that looked a bit of each way value around sort of 10. So I just think the safest bet, the one that's going to, there's only 3 course and distance winners in this race. Inisherin, Jasor and Anaf, and of those, obviously Inisherin's the one with the best chance. Last year's Commonwealth winner, Kevin Ryan. He had quite a good run with that horse in what was it called, Dickensian, I think it was, in the week. And I think I put it up as a bit of an each way squeak. It came second in one of the earlier races in the week, 20-1. She's going a bit better now. Buick's been booked. That win at York on its return was a good, that was its first run back from a wind up. It was tough. It looked beaten, and then Ryan was on it that day, and it just got back up big floor of Bermuda. So only 8 runs. I just think there's possibly a bit more to come. I know this is like the second run back after the wind up, and some people, sort of kibosh that a little bit sometimes. But and look, maybe enough. I think was it Peter or someone, I can't remember, did talk that one up a little bit as running at a big price. It's about 50s, and look, it does have a bit to find, but we know it's a course and distance winner. First time cheap pieces are on board, it could run into a place. This
is not the year for a Cadem 80-1 shocker. No. If Anaf comes streaming along and beats Lazat, Inisherin, Satana Rev, Stormboy, Top Gear, tune into TalkSport because I won't know what to say.
I'm not saying it's going to win. I'm just saying if you're looking at some kind of, you might get a top 4 somewhere, someone doing an offer. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it ran okay, but Inisherin for me is the main pick.
Okay. The Jersey Stakes, the Group 3. This is going to be in what should be the slot of the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. It'll be at 4:20. And Comanche Brave, who's got form with Field of Gold, beaten 5.5 lengths by him in the Irish 2,000 guineas. There was no second, there was no third, there was no fourth, there was no fifth. There was Field of Gold, and the rest were nowhere. Henri Matisse, though, that form's interesting from the Irish 2,000 guineas trial, although that was Henri Matisse's seasonal debut, and he would have needed it. But people want to back him. Ryan Moore's going to be on board, and he's 7-2 for a very shrewd trainer in Donnacha O'Brien, who knows where the winning line is at Royal Ascot as a jockey and as a trainer. Can he get this horse into the winner's enclosure, Adam?
Well, you'd have to think he's got a chance, and I think he's probably the right favourite on the balance of his form. But I agree with you in terms of, I think the Henri Matisse form is a little bit suspect because yes, he's got very close to Henri Matisse, who's Frank the form. But then, whilst that's true, half a length behind him was Arizona Blaze. So it's not... Arizona Blaze went and won a race at Shanty that was not the greatest, and then was beaten at Haydock. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sold on that. I don't want to take that price for all that I think he's probably the right favourite. I can have 2 in this. Can I? We got such a good field. Okay, so we'll have 2. The first one's Ramuz.
Yes.
Who has won both starts today. He beat 3 debut at Doncaster in April. Went back to the same course 2 weeks ago. He won by 3 lengths under a penalty in probably a nothing race, but the winning time was well below the expected time on good ground at Doncaster from the TPD database. I think there's just a chance that Owen Burrows has got a right type on his hands here, and I thought it was quite ballsy that they've decided we've had 2 starts, we got a mark of 98, but instead of that we're going to go straight in the jersey. Let's have a crack. So that one would certainly be one of my main plays, but I'm also going to go really swinging here, and stall 1 has put me off a little bit. But what price have you got for Pelletori? My screen had just gone down, but Pelletori, changed by trains, Owen. Now, this horse is frustrating, to say the least, because he's got bags of ability, but he's quite exposed at this point. However, He beat the horse that I backed anti-post for this race, called Anno Domini at Newmarket in April. We haven't tested that form since because I've obviously got issues keeping Anno Domini sound, but that was a really impressive win. Although he was no match for Opera Ballo, he was the fastest horse in the 5th and 6th furlong. So he's trying to make ground at Sandown in a race just where the front runner kind of controlled it. But all 3 of his career wins have come on a straight course. He finishes his races really well. We got Sylvester de Souza, who would keep riding to the end of the world if he thought he could get into the frame. And you're getting an absolutely massive price. Now, stall 1 is a problem. Definitely a problem. I don't want to be on that side. All the evidence so far this week says if you're on the far side, pack up and go home. But I quite like the fact that Pelletori will be running on past a lot of beaten horses. So I'll have a little bit each way on him, particularly when I get extra places, but Ramuz would be my main play.
Ramuz is the bet of the week for Rick from QuinBet, which I'm sure he won't mind me saying. He's one of their top odds compilers, and he sent me a message during the week saying, get on this fella. There is no way he won't go off much shorter than he is now. He'll end up going off favourite. I think more people will start looking at that Comanche Brave form and going, hang on, is this real? Is it, though? Very exciting horse. We covered him on his debut in April. He looked a proper prospect that day, giving away the penalty to the Rafe Beckett horse the next day, and well back to do so. He looked a star in the making. This fella will win. Andy?
Remove me up, baby. Yes. I'm with you. Let's do it. All 3. Yeah, look, Owen Burrows, right? 24% strike rate with his 3-year-olds at Ascot. I think that's probably the best on show out of these trainers that have got, runners here. Like Adam said, really, the form has been frank. That win, Donny, first time out, Seafalls. I think that's one since, isn't it, Seafalls? And I think the third in that race, a horse called River King, has come out and won. So, and it's just the way it won last time at Donny. I like the stuck its neck out, didn't it? And it just kept going, and you can just see it powering, down the Ascot Straight. So yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes really. At the moment, it's about 60s. Might even go off favourite. Favourites have done all right in this. 5 of the last 23. So that's another plus. So yeah, by Blue Point, 2-time Royal Ascot winner as well. So it's just a lot going for it. Marvel Man probably deserves a mention. Murphy's riding that out of his skin, and that was only second to that Cosmic Year. Obviously, that form has been fairly franked with Field of Gold and so on and so on. So that's probably just worth a little bit of a squeak as well. But look, Ramuz is, I think it's going to go off a lot shorter than 6-1, mate. Personally,
your other one, Andy, was 25-1. Adam, sorry, to throw that into the mix just in case, but never mind. Ramuz wins. 5 o'clock, Wokingham. Heritage Handicap. It's one of the most competitive handicaps of the entire season, and this is going to be a really doozy, a real pickle to unearth. Oh wait, no, this is real simple. More Thunder. How far does he win by, Adam?
Couple of lengths. What that, dear? I'm not like Andy in a handicap where he goes wins by miles. Bloody hell! But, I do think
Never So Brave basically won by miles today.
Yeah. Well, yeah. With that, and that is a good point now. Whether More Thunder's got quite as much in hand as Never So Brave, I'm not sure. But I've only put one tip on the At the Races column for Saturday, and it's this lad, More Thunder. Both starts in Newmarket, he's won. I mean, he was slowly away last time. 8 seconds I think he took to reach 30 miles an hour, but the strong pace was perfect. The runner-up, our Ram, obviously reopposes. He's won since the boost of form. Didn't get the greatest run, still switched out and got his head up on the line. The Ascot Hill looks like it's going to suit. We're drawn well. We got the right jockey. We got the right trainer for this race. Surely this thing just wins, doesn't it? And I know that's a ridiculous thing to say in like a 25, 28 runner handicap, whatever it is. But I think More Thunder is the potential to be miles better than a marker 98. And I kind of suspect this might be his last run in handicap company. And for that reason, I think I have to back him, and I'm quite happy to take the price. But then, equally speaking, if I'm going to take the price by him, I've got to sort of give a bit of a mention to a Ram, under Ryan Moore, drawn in 19, which could be worse, but he's franked the form since. He should run his race. Might have a little savour on him, but no, More Thunder would be one of my strongest bets the entire week.
I was watching Racing TV the day he won on debut for Haggis, and straight away Haggis says, Wokingham, we'll give him one more run. Just need to make sure he gets in. We'll give him one more run. and he goes and does it again. And how many more times are we going to talk about this Sir Michael Stout system? All these ex-Stout horses just keep on winning. There's Never So Brave doing it. How that horse didn't win at Chester is beyond me, but it doesn't matter. Sheen got it done today. Could have won by half the track. This fella absolutely bolt up. I'd be a little bit nervous as Symbol of Honour. I like him. He's got a fair amount of weight to carry, though. More thunder, Andy. How far?
Miles.
Are you with him as well?
Yeah, I think I put it up, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. So it was supposed to run in Haydock. Was it in the Temple Stakes or something? It was one of the group races, and it was entered there. Obviously, they pulled it out and it didn't run. And I thought it had a squeak then. It was probably 12s, obviously, in the group race and so on. But, they bypassed that for this race. This is the easier option, obviously. And as you said, this is going to propel into at least listed group company. The draw's fine, 23. 21 of the last 25 have been age 4 or 5. It's a 4-year-old. Haggis won it last year. He won it in 2009 with high standing. So, look, it's only been winning just about, isn't it? Like short head last time, and it looks.
Adam has a race to get to. It's over. He wins. No. He wins, Andy. The three of us are on. We can't all be wrong. He's going to win.
Yeah, he is. And look, I'm not going to go into why, but just as a little each way, I just think the Charles Hills horse, Orazio, could go all right. It was sent off favourite for this race a few years ago, and I think it's been placed. It might come third last year, actually. So that could go well at 16-1. But yeah, more thunder, Orazio, forecast.
William Haggis is going to have the double. Golden Gate Stakes, 5:35, 10 furlongs. This Archivist is a Group 1 horse. If he can get in, he's a reserve currently. If he gets in, I'm so excited. Adam Mills, your thoughts on the Golden Gates?
Well, how can I express an opinion on a horse I don't know who's running? But I take your point on Archivist. I mean, I'm not entirely in love with a horse who takes 6 starts to get off the mark, but maybe that's just me being a little bit harsh. And Dubawi's record on the round course at Royal Ascot is pretty exceptional, so I respect that. Seraph Gabriel is half interesting, going up in trip, but that form of 5th column doesn't look as amazing as it did at the time. I thought there was like a decent case to be made for the other Haggis Dubawi trained horse called the King's Falcon. Tom Marquand rules. Haven't had the greatest weeks in their horses, but there's a chance of a Royal winner here, despite being drawn wide. In my head, the King's Falcon was going to get the same ride that Merchant got in terms of just getting dropped in, being patient, coming with one run. I kind of felt because the King's Falcon didn't run particularly well at Epsom, and unfortunately, he was 6-5 favourite. Now, he bumped into Jackknife. We've got no idea what Jackknife would have done today because he was drawn at the start, but actually he ran a right Sandown. So maybe, it wasn't as disappointing as it seemed at the time. They then went up to Carlisle. I mean, I don't know. What he beat at Carlisle is open to question, but he did it pretty nicely. So, you're getting sort of close to a double-figure price about the King's Falcon. Tom Marquand's surely going to choose the Royal runner for William Haggis. Drawn out in 17, which I think will be a good thing to keep him out of trouble. He's unexposed, might well be better than a mark of 90. I think I'd like to take that price.
Okay. The King's Falcon, Tom Marquand, William Haggis, Dubawi, Shamadel. Be a similar enough thing, though, for me here, Andy, with Archivist by Dubawi, handicap debut, up and trip. Whoosh.
Look, the winner here is going to be Andrew Balding and B. Murphy. Okay, I've only got one view on this race, and that Key de Bethune or Bethane or whatever we want to call it, number 10, drawn 14, third last time at Newbury, but the 6th has come out of that race and won. The 7th has come out of that race and won. Wave Rider, I think, was 6, and a horse called Circus of Rome. Balding won this race in 2021 with Fox's Tails. It's only been 5 run into this as well. And look, all 5 have been drawn 9 or higher, and all 5 have, 4 of the last 5 have carried 8, 11 to 9 stone 3 in that little bracket. So that again ticks those 2 stats. Murphy's on fire. Balding had a winner already. He's on the board. As you say, don't overcomplicate it, mate.
Keep it simple. Don't complicate the mind. As we move on to the final race, which this is very much going to apply to, the Queen Alexandra Stakes. How far does Sober win by, Adam Mills, to send us all off to Barbados?
Wow, I mean, yeah, he's short. Sure, he's better than this. I mean, I feel a little bit for Sober. You know, he's a Group 2 winner back in his days in France. They bought him presumably with kind of hurdles and dual code in mind. He's had the traditional Willie Mullins, let's prep in a maiden hurdle. Now, look, he won that race at Killarney. It wasn't the greatest race, and he made quite hard work of it, but it looked to me like he was kind of his first run since August. He needs the run. We need to get him fit. Ryan Moore's booked. It's not necessarily that I want to take such a short price about Sober. I don't think he's like a life-changing good thing, but it's just what are you going to take Sober on with in this field? I'm far from convinced by Wild Waves. Yeah, Dallas Star is half interesting, but I wouldn't say Dallas Star is like a superstar. Although, to be fair, his form with Kyprios is hard to weigh up because we don't know what state Kyprios was in. I mean, the one who's like maybe the bigger danger is Sam Wee, who actually I thought ran a really nice race in the Ascot Stakes. Finished third behind French Master. He had no chance of beating French Master on those terms. Sorry, in the Copper Horse, not the Ascot, in the Copper Horse. But he was only half a length behind Caballo de Mar. They're turning him out quite quickly. Colin Keane's booked. So Sam Wee is your each way alternative, but I don't want to back Sober at a short price. But surely, if he runs to form, he just wins this.
He's just the absolute banker for the multiples. He's in a different league to this lot, Andy. Surely you just throw him in the multiples. You don't think about it too much. You just go, oh yeah, Ryan Moore, Willie Mullins in the last, of course, Group 2 winner in France. Already has winning form for Willie. Stick him in. Grand.
Yeah, I mean, look, some of those other ones earlier in the day come in, some of the sort of so-called shorter price bankery, whatever. This thing's going to be a silly price probably, isn't it? Because like you say, there's going to be a lot of doubles and trebles and accas going on to it. I mean, this has been Mullins' best race at Royal Ascot. He's won it 4 times. Ryan Moore's won it 5 times, I think. And yeah, and just quickly, there's a good story that George told us yesterday off air, wasn't it? Because Ryan's first winner in this race was back in 2010 on Burgo, and it was for Gary Moore. And he said that at the time, Ryan and I think it was it Frankie were literally level top jockey, and Gary's first winner at Royal Ascot, Ryan riding, bags the top jockey by doing it. So he's gone on to win 3 more for Mullins and so on. So yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Adam. I think that ran all right, didn't it, last time? The Samwee and the Gordon Elliott. He's actually got the record in this as well. He's won it twice. So that is the sort of alternative if you don't want to back the odds on. I mean, yesterday when we did this, it was 5-2 Sober, wasn't it? And we were going, look, Jesus Christ, 5-2. That's going to go long. That's long gone. And then we're right. As soon as the decks are out, it's odds on already, but it's hard to see past Sober, really, personally. But,
well, we should say that the price has gone mainly because nothing else was declared.
Yeah.
So the other Willie Mullins runner for the Royal Runner,
Reaching High in Queenstown, all
Reaching
came out.
High, and a few others have come out. So
yeah, it's just 45, isn't it?
I know they thought Sober to go hurdling, but this is a gift of an opportunity to pick up some prize money in a Royal Ascot winner.
Okay, best bets for the final day of Royal Ascot. Your nap and your next best, Andy Newton.
I'm going to go Moments of Joy nap in the Chesham first race, and let's go More Thunder as the next best in the Wokingham.
Follow that, Adam Mills.
I'm going to go More Thunder in the Wokingham as the nap, and Remuse in the Jersey as the next best.
More Thunder is the nap. Rebels Romance is the next best. Moments of Joy for the patent, which will probably be a lucky 15 with Stormboy. And really, it should just be a Super Heinz. Keep it simple, Super Heinz. Moments of Joy, Rebels Romance, Stormboy, Remuse, More Thunder, Archivist, Sober. See you in Dubai. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed our Royal Ascot coverage. We've really enjoyed doing it for you. Have you hit the like button? Did you smash like on this video? Have you subscribed to the Final Furlong Podcast on YouTube? Have you hit the subscribe button to the Final Furlong Podcast on your favorite podcast apps? Of course you have. There's no way you'd be watching or listening to this content and not doing that. That's the very least you would do. Of course, that's very simple. In fact, you're telling all your friends, you're telling all your family, you're telling all your colleagues, everybody about how great this podcast is and how much you love Andy and Adam. That's what you're doing, isn't it? Of course. From Adam, from Andy, and from me, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate your support. Best of luck for Royal Ascot Day 5. Am I supposed to say that? Gamble responsibly? You know that already. You don't need to be lectured to gamble responsibly. But do. Best of luck. Hopefully we'll shoot the lights out. Come on, more thunder. Are we right? Is Rebels Romance in the winners' enclosure yet? Of course they are. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong Podcast and join us on the gravy train.